Mammoth Municipal Stadium bulges with a full house of more than 100,000 fans for the nation's annual service classic, the Army-Navy game. Red Blake's undefeated Black Knights, boasting a string of 28 consecutive victories, enter the game as 20-point favorites over the victory-starved middies of Eddie Erdeles. President and Mrs. Truman had an impressive list of celebrities at the game. As far as the middies are concerned, Billy the Tenth is another celebrity. The midshipmen offer their solution to that perplexing problem, the thing, and it's the Army Mule. Now to the ball game. It's 0-0 with Navy in possession. Bobby Zastro digs through the Army line for 5 yards. Zastro under center stands up and rifles a spot pass to Captain Tom Bucky for a first on the Army 44. A quick thrust into the left side with Frankie Huff carrying picks up 5. Zastro shoots another spot pass to Bucky, but Army's low line is Johnny on the spot as he intercepts Zastro's pass and comes back to the Army 42. After recovering an Army fumble, the middies are in possession again on the Cadets 33. Zastro cocks his arm and lets go with the pass. Art Sundry snares it and steps out of bounds on the Army 16. The middies move under full steam with Bobby Zastro firing the furnace. The slow-motion camera shows Zastro taking plenty of time and spotting his man. The pigskin searches out the eagerly awaited arms of Frankie Huff, who slips to the turf on the 7-yard line of the Army. On the very next play, Zastro pulls and bulls his way through a maze of cadets for a Navy touchdown. The inspired middies now lead the cadets 6-0. Here's a touchdown in slow motion. Zastro starts up the middle. Watch him shake one Army tackler and another as Zastro scores for Navy. Roger Drew, the middies extra point specialist, playing with a sprained ankle, slams home the conversion that gives the Navy a surprising 7-0 lead. After the kickoff, Army's offense explodes with Vic Pollock going for 7. At quarterback for the Cadets is number 15, Bobby Blake, son of the Army coach. Blake's pass is caught by All-American Dan Folberg, who is pulled down on the Navy 46. 3 plays advance the ball only 1 yard, so Blake steps back to pass. But his 4th down toss is broken up by Powers and Sundry as the Navy holds. The midshipmen weigh anchor once again with Zastro sneaking through Army secondary for 12. Only 2 minutes remain in the first half when the Tars unleash some fancy razzle-dazzle that puts the cadets in a frenzied frazzle. Halfback Billy Powers on a reverse swings wide and cuts downfield for 23 yards and a first down on Army's 30-yard strike. Just 20 seconds left to be played in the first half. Zastro is back to pass. He's being rushed, comes to his left, and heaves a running pass. It's goalward. Navy's Jim Baldinger makes a tremendous leaping catch in the end zone for another Navy touchdown. Just look at those middies now. Just in case you couldn't follow the last touchdown, here it is again in Telraw's super slow motion. With Billy Powers blocking, Zastro looks downfield for a receiver. Army's right tackle, J.D. Kimmel, forces Zastro to alter his course. Zastro just manages to evade Kimmel, who is closing in just as a Navy quarterback throws. The ball sails toward the end zone. Navy's Jim Baldinger and Army's Gene Gribble go into the air. Baldinger makes a beautiful leaping catch for the touchdown. Once again, Roger Drew boots home the 7th point, giving the midshipmen from Annapolis a startling 14-0 lead over Army's Black Knights of the Hudson at halftime. In the third quarter, Navy's ball on their own 13. Zastro, attempting a pass, is smeared in the end zone by Rokamp and Volanino for a safety that makes the score now read 14-2 in favor of the Navy. Later in the third quarter, Army trying desperately to score. Al Pollard drives outside tackle and gets into the clear, but only momentarily as Bill Powers catches him on the Navy 35-yard line. In the final session now, Bobby Blake passes for the Cadets, but John Gursky intercepts and is thrown immediately by Captain Dan Folberg on the Navy 17. After taking a Navy punt, Army continues to put the pressure on the middies. Al Pollard takes Blake's pitch out and uncorks a running jump pass. Here again, with Bill Powers doing heavy work, a Navy interception slams the door on the cadets, and the midshipmen take over. Navy in possession on their own 11. Dave Bannerman slaps over the right side for 10, but fumbles, and Army's Gene Gribble drops on the ball on the middies' 20. In 3 plays, the midshipmen shove the cadets back to the 23, where on 4th down, Blake heaves the pass into the end zone. It's intended for Jim Sugar Kane, but it's too far, and again the Navy holds. Army's ball again on their own 30. Fullback Al Pollard on a delayed buck hikes through a big hole in the Navy line and carries out to the 45. Bobby Blake under center for the cadets. He's going back to pass, but can't find a receiver, so Blake hot-foots it around to the right flank for 7 yards before being flipped on the Navy 48. On a quick opener, Jim Kane slips down to the middies' 40, where it's 1st and 10 for the Army. Blake fades to pass again. He throws. Jack Martin is tackled and loses the ball, and Navy's Les Etchison scoops it in to stifle another cadet threat. On the next play, however, Hoff and Zastro miss connections with a handoff, and Army's Gerald Hart gives life to the West Pointers as he recovers on the Navy 28. The Army's big guns explode with some more razzle-dazzle. Jack Martin on a reverse skirts his right flank for 9 long yards. The cadets want that touchdown. Bob Blake rifles a pass to Al Conway that clicks for a first on the middies' 9. 2 plays later, Blake sends Jim Kane into the line. Kane fumbles. The ball bounces around the 6-yard line before Navy's Bob McDonald grabs it to foil another cadet scoring drive late in the game. After running out 4 plays, the Tars are forced to punt. Army's Elmer Stout breaks through to block Cameron's kick and then recovers on the Sailors' 10. From the tee, Blake hands off to Sugar Kane, who goes wide to his right, sees an opening, and sprints down to the Navy 3-yard line. In the final play of the game, Army down on the Navy 4. Frank Fischel fakes a jump pass, then throws goalward, but the middies' John Gursky cuts down Fischel's pass and heads upfield. Gursky almost breaks away, but Jim Kane nails him from behind, and Gursky fumbles as the gun goes off to end a hectic battle with a spectacular finish. Eddie Erdelet's inspired Navy 11 gained their first victory over the West Pointers since 1943 and climaxed their season with the year's biggest upset. Are those middies a happy lot? Well, judge for yourself. While across the field, a deadly calm falls over the gray sea of cadets as they try to reconcile their broke-ridden victory skein and their previously undefeated season ruined by the Navy.